everyone. The greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. Now that is my mentor, Robert Swan. And I think the responsibility is mine, yours, and the following generations that need to move from the belief that someone else will do something to taking action. Hi everyone, I'm Avani Awasthee, the youngest Indian to have been to Antarctica twice, a model, and maybe an influencer, as they like to call me these days. My journey certainly did not begin with an end in mind. In my 14s, a video that I made about recycling and how each one of us can contribute towards saving Antarctica was awarded on a national level. Following which, I was appointed as one of the 26 student ambassadors for the Swedish packaging giant Tetra Pak. Soon after, I started an initiative called the Recycle Army, which involved people from all walks of life and generations. And as the name suggests, we cycle around in our neighborhoods talking about the importance of recycling and how each one of us can contribute towards saving the South Pole. This was among many other initiatives that we spearheaded, like Waterless Holi, Crackerless Diwali, and cleaning tiny hilltops. Now, over the years, in between, I have built a modeling career. I am also a recipient of the Karmavir Chakra Award, got featured by the United Nations Women sector, and the future certainly looks adventurous. But amongst all these feathers in my cap, there were a curious set of questions among society. She's a model and shows skin. She's so tiny, won't she go to Antarctica and fly away? Iske parents isko khilate nahi hai kya? Will she even come back alive? And the favorite question of all was, who will even get married to her bro? But my today's topic of interest is my Antarctic experience. Antarctica is the calendar for climate change. My affair with the ice cap was noticed by Sir Robert Swan, who is the first man in history to walk to both the North and South Poles, and also happens to be my mentor. I was among a select few that included 3 other women from across the world to be a part of the Leadership on the Edge program to Antarctica in 2016. In Andrew Denton's words, if Antarctica were music, it would be Mozart. Art, and it would be Michelangelo. Literature, and it would be Shakespeare. And yet, it is something even greater. The only place on earth that is still as it should be. May we never tame it. Antarctica is protected by a treaty signed in 1959 that stops any kind of exploitation of the continent. But the treaty could be edited, modified, or even completely scrapped in the year 2041. Even though the continent is currently under the treaty, it is melting at a 10 times faster rate than what NASA had initially thought. So can you imagine, when the treaty no longer exists, the kind of impact human intervention will actually have on the continent? Increasing levels of greenhouse gases, the ocean and temperatures are doing little to keep Antarctica as it is today. Do you know, every one of us sitting here in this auditorium are 11,306 kilometers away from the icy continent of Antarctica and are still contributing to the melting of the continent. You know, when you're 18 and you're told that you're going to be the youngest Indian to have ever been to Antarctica, you think, boss, you've made it in life. You're doing the best thing ever. And you know, Antarctica is a beautiful place. So like many of us, I acted like a tourist. I took lots of selfies. I was walking around the icebergs. I was mesmerized by the little penguins running around. And in the end, I also did the polar plunge, which is basically wearing the least amounts of clothes that you can and jumping into the icy waters just to challenge ourselves. I embarked on the Antarctic journey with a group of individuals from across the world with a common goal in mind, which is to fight climate change. And then I went back in 2018, this time as a mentor, to a group of young explorers from around the world. You know, these 2 visits to the Antarctic have had a huge impact on me. I began to notice every tiny detail that the nature had to provide. Extreme temperatures and miles of icy mass invited me to look at the delicate balance of the ecosystem. But much later, I saw that I needed a lot more humility to understand and appreciate the grandeur and the pristine beauty of the continent. To see it as it is, and not what I wanted to see. Now, in my endeavor to do something, anything, to save our home and to help others to do so, we started the My 1% campaign. But before I could go out and talk about it, you know, they say, be the change you want to see in the world. And so, we started at home. Personally, I adapted my lifestyle to making it more environment friendly. And then we made changes like solar powering our home, installing drip irrigation, rainwater harvesting, reducing the amount of waste that we give out, and even segregating it. But that is not what I'm asking of you. The ask is your 1%. Not a drastic change, but few gradual adaptations, few gradual practices that help the greater cause. Do you know that a 10-minute shower every day per person consumes up to 100 liters of water? Well, an easy solution to that could be just bathe 3 times a week. I'm sure most of us do, don't we? Or you limit your showers to a 3-minute timer. You play on a track that is 3 minutes long, jam to it, enjoy it, and by the time the track is over, you step out. Now, another thing that all of us are used to hearing is, when you're going out shopping, take a cloth bag and go. But what all of us have actually been doing is every time we go out, we buy a new cloth bag. That is not a sustainable practice. The practice is reusing your existing cloth bag. And tiny steps like this is basically what is going to contribute to your 1%. But have you thought why your 1% is important? A rise of 0.2 meters off the sea level, major cities like Goa and Chennai are going to be underwater. The Mormugao port, which is 5 kilometers from here, is going to drown. And the swimming pool that all you guys have been hoping for is going to be at your doorstep. You know, caring for the environment is like living a healthy lifestyle. Crash dieting for 2 months straight and a few weeks later, actually ending up putting on more weight. It's the same with the environment. So there's a new term making the rounds these days, which is called greenwashing. It refers to a situation when an organization or an individual spends more time and money on marketing themselves as environment friendly rather than actually minimizing its environmental impact. Undertaking the expedition was a huge endeavor in itself. However, what I found equally challenging was coming to terms with how deeply ingrained gender discrimination in our society is. Initially, the words like "log kya kahenge" would feel a tight slap on my face. A young Indian girl spending lakhs of money and her parents actually allowing her to go to Antarctica. It seems simpler to focus on what would energize me instead of on what people thought. I am learning not to make other people's fears mine. So to sum up everyone's 1%, let's heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me, and the entire human race, because the purpose of my talk is not to tell you that I want to save the environment. It is to create a world where the environment doesn't need to be protected. Thank you so much.